Hi there, welcome to another episode of the Uncrowned Diaries. Today I want to talk to you about something that is quite necessary, and that is money. Money. Now, what does money have to do with an Uncrowned Diary talking about mental wellness specifically? Well, here's why. I've called this episode, I don't have a Glam Squad, but I do have grit. And I say that with a grain of salt, and I'll tell you why. We've come to recognize grit or resilience as something that we praise in our society, and we should. People who kind of get up despite the number of times they've fallen down, those who persist, those who just keep going no matter what, we should celebrate them because it's commendable. However, there's a little bit of an exception, or a caveat, I should say, is that the people who get back up but then don't deal with their wounds and move forward, that we should not be rewarding or admiring, because that's going to come back to bite you at some point. So when you get up and just don't give up, but you do so in a way that you heal yourself and move forward, that is the kind of resilience that we should be celebrating. Not the kind where we just keep going, and we're just getting wound after wound after wound, and we're just like dusting it off and saying, meh, it doesn't mean anything, it's okay, I'm gonna keep going. But really that wound is festering and killing us on the inside. That's not the kind of grit that we should be celebrating, okay? So when I say I didn't have a Glam Squad, but I had grit, I'm talking about the kind of grit where I give myself the ability to heal from my wounds. So when it comes to money, there's going to be a lot of times where other candidates, other delegates come really well funded. They have the right designers behind them. They have these beautiful dresses. They have sponsors who are taking care of everything. You're going to see these beautiful polished photo shoots where they're, looking so lovely and beautiful. And they've got like these beautiful inspirational quotes written as captions under their pictures, and you're going to think, goodness gracious me, I don't have any of that. And I'll tell you, I didn't have any of that. The reason I didn't have any of that is because I guess I could have paid for it, but I just had other things that I was prioritizing, and it simply wasn't the thing that I had to prioritize at the time. And so I forfeited the glitzy glam photo shoots, and because of my travel schedule and my work schedule, and because I have 3 children, I really didn't have the time to sit there and collaborate on those things, because on the times I did have to collaborate, I was working on fundraisers and other things that were important. So this is a choice that I made, but nevertheless, it wasn't something that came easily, where I had an entire Glam Squad and, taking pictures and photo shoots and having all that polish. And when you go through it, you're going to have to decide where the money goes. You might be lucky enough to be in an environment where you're collaborating with photographers and with makeup artists and things like that, or you may not be. And when that happens, you have to decide, like, what are the things that are important to you? And there's also something called the imposter syndrome. Like, do I deserve to be here? Look at all these girls. They've got all this glitz and this glamour. They've got all these beautiful photo shoots. I don't have any of that. Should I be here? Am I really a pageant girl? And I'm here to tell you, you decide how you want to present yourself at this pageant. I'm not telling you to go into the bathroom and take a selfie and put that up as your picture for your pageant. Obviously, do the best of your ability. But if you cannot afford to have glitzy, glamorous photo shoots and headshots and things like that, it's okay. It's okay to do something that is authentically you. It's pretty, it's polished, but maybe it's not super duper professional, because guess what? When you get to pageant week, they will give you your beautiful shots. You will take those glamour pictures, and you will be doing swimsuit photo shoots, headshots, and those will become your official headshots for the pageant. So you don't have to worry about that part. But I'm talking about leading up to the pageant. If you do not have all of that glitzy glamour stuff, it's okay, and to have the grit to keep going, to have that persistence, to keep going, to find other ways creatively to make it your own. Same thing with your costumes, same thing with your gowns. You may not be able to afford the thousands and thousands of dollar gowns there are. There's going to be so many different events that you have to attend, and you may just feel really overwhelmed saying, you know, all the other girls seem to have all these wonderful designers and sponsors behind them, and they're going to show up in these gorgeous dresses, and here I am showing up in like something that's not that nice or not that old. Of course, be resourceful. Of course, get out there, maybe borrow some gowns from friends. I know that for me personally, because of my size, I have a very small waist compared to the other proportionally to my body compared to my hips and my bust. As a result, I have to spend more for tailoring. Now, tailoring, of course, good tailoring costs money, and I had to pick and choose. You know, like where was I going to spend the money when it came to my gowns? The gowns were important, so I had to put out that extra money just to make sure the gown fit properly. So you need to know where to splurge, and you need to know where to tie it back, and you have to prioritize for yourself the things that are important to you. For me, I knew that going into the judging round where I'm sitting right across from the judges, I want my clothes to fit properly. The suit that I'm wearing, I splurged and I got a good suit, and I also made sure that it's tailored to fit me well. Same thing with my gowns that I'm going to be wearing on stage. I made sure that those gowns, even though it costs quite a bit of money to get them tailored properly, I did it because number one, I didn't want to go spend money and buy a nice gown and then have someone who wasn't really good with the tailoring butcher the gown after I've invested money in it. So I splurged and got it done properly. And again, these are costs that I thought were important, and so I splurged on it, and then there were others that I didn't. So the point of the matter is this, is that you are going to have some people who are very well funded coming into this pageant, and it's going to feel really overwhelming when you're trying to compete with them and you don't have something as glitzy and glamorous in your opinion as they do. And I'm going to tell you to make it your own. There's another video I posted, but I'm going to talk about this here as well, just in case you missed that video, because it is relevant. I have this gown that I wore back for my Christmas formal, not even grad. So grad happens at the end of the year, but the Christmas formal, I had this beautiful bronze lace black gown, and I'm actually going to be wearing it at the pageant, not for the main event, but I'm going to be wearing it for one of my events. Now that dress, I'm going to date myself right now, but I used that gown in 1999. We are 2025. That gown is 26 years old. It is still gorgeous. It is beautiful. And back then it cost me an arm and a leg, and I promised my father that I would wear that gown. I would not waste money. Oh goodness, did I keep my promise, because 26 years later, I'm going to be wearing that gown. But guess what? At this point, that gown has become a story to tell. Like, I am proudly wearing that gown. Number one, to say, hey, I fit in that dress, even though it's stretchy, but whatever, even though it's stretchy, whatever, I fit in that gown and I look good in a gown that I wore when I was like 18 years old. And in addition to that is the fact that it has so much of nostalgia connected to it. There's so many memories. Like that's a story. That's a walking story, you know? Like, I wear that gown. There could be a girl there that's got a gown that's maybe $25,000. I don't care. Point is that my gown tells a story, and I am proud to tell that story. So remember that when you go into pageant week, that there are going to be people who are better funded than you. There's going to be the glitz and the glamour, and unless you're willing to throw thousands and thousands of dollars at it, which not everyone has the capability of doing, you have to find a way to feel really comfortable in the things that you're wearing and the things that you're doing and the things that you're spending money on. So don't start to just throw money at things just because you're trying to compete. Don't think that you have to do those things just to be seen. You get seen because of your presence. You get seen because of your energy, and you are just as capable of showing up and commanding that energy in a $100 gown as you are in a $10,000 gown. So you need to remember that, and you need to show up present as who you are as a person, okay? I use the word authentically very repetitively in this series and in life in general, but it really is something that needs to come through when you are you know, in pageant world, because like I said, there are so many candidates. They are all beautiful. They are all accomplished. They are all bringing something to the table. No one is any less than any other. It's just you all have a different story to tell. What's your story? What makes your story the compelling one? What makes your story worth the extra ounce of attention from the judge? And things like a gown that's 26 years old will do that for you. I didn't pay a penny. One of the only things that was free this year for the pageant. But and again, one of the ones I'm most excited to wear. So I've got gowns that I've spent a couple $100s on, a couple of thousand on my main ones. But the point of the matter is that despite the fact that I haven't spent a penny on this gown, I am equally excited to wear it. And I hope that's the kind of energy that you bring to your pageant when you do it. I'm not saying not to show up polished. I'm not saying not to invest in good pieces. Do all of those things, but don't do it just for the sake of doing it. Don't do it just for the price tag. Don't think that that on its own is going to carry you through. A pretty dress will only be as pretty as the person that's in it. Okay, so it's about the person who's wearing it, you, and yes, the dress is supposed to enhance who you are as an individual. Okay, so don't get overwhelmed. If you don't have a Glam Squad behind you, that's okay. Your grit, your persistence, your resilience, and your story is what you're going to show up with. And that's the energy that you need to bring to the pageant.